It's so fast. My heart's pounding right now. The adrenaline is crazy. Welcome back to another episode of Mini Metal Fab, everyone. Today we're going to be fine-tuning the single-sided swing arm on the Kraken and giving it a true full send. We noticed our rear wheel was looking a bit crooked. When you look straight on, down at it, it's aimed to the right a little bit. And I think that's because I forgot to tighten all these bolts in here all the way. I just snugged them. So I think it pulled all the bearings and shifted everything. So now we gotta jack up the whole bike so we can pull the rear wheel off. Probably pull the brake and the sprocket off. And then realign the axle, get it nice and straight, tighten everything down again, and then put it all back together. And then we also need to realign our front sprocket because this one's this way too far. We gotta bring it to the left here a little bit. And then we can give it another test. And if the chunking's gone, we can give it a full send. We're gonna go pick up our tensioner from our storage, and then we'll be able to weld that on, make a mount for it and everything. Kind of gotta come out pretty far. And then, yeah, we could give it another test like that before we do the brake, but I'll probably do the brake tomorrow and then we'll test it. Just so we have rear brakes again. But it's super close and it looks really good. And it should be better.
Everything's apart, and fortunately the swing arm is fine. These bolts down here at the lower part of the axle that the wheel is mounted to, these were all loose.
Yeah, it's been nice now. We got it all back together here. Everything is a lot straighter now. The axle just shifted in the bearings, thankfully. Swing arm did not bend. That was what I was afraid of. I didn't want to have to cut and re-weld, but we're good. So the chains are realigned. I just need to add a tensioner here to take up this extra slack, and then we'll be ready for another test. And hopefully, no more chunking, so we can full send it and actually give it a good rip. Because what you saw before was us that's like quarter throttle maybe, like barely rolling on the gas, and it has a lot more in it, and I'd like to see what I can do now with the new gearing. So hopefully this will fix our problem.
The big tire isn't even too much. It's almost perfect.
Yeah, the gearing's almost spot on.
I think it completes.
Feels almost the same as before, but each gear's longer now.
It definitely completes the look.
Yeah, it does. And we still gotta make a new brake lever for the right ratio, because this one's doesn't have enough travel and enough leverage advantage.
The pivot point needs to be changed.
Yeah, it's gotta come back here. I'll make it off of this and move our spring somewhere else. And then it should be okay. So I added our chain roller here. And it literally just rolls. It keeps the chain from slapping around, so it has that much tension. And that'll be perfect. And now I'm working on the brake. I cut off the old one. This is what I'm coming up for the new one. It's gonna be like this kinda. I just gotta put a bend in this to bring it down to this level here, and then we'll have a brake. So I'm just having it tacked right now. I'm gonna weld it up once I know it works. A stop and a return spring, and it works amazing. Look at that, actually travels now, and you can lock up the rear wheel easily. So this should be perfect. So now the bike is ready for a test ride. So let's see if it's any better.
So now that everything's all aligned, Brandon's gonna give it a quick test. That is solid. I didn't hear any chunking. And by that smile, I don't think he heard any either. It's back.
But dude, it's not chunky.
That's what I was guessing. It looked pretty good.
Dude, it's so fast too.
Dude, it's almost perfect. I bet you he's smiling right now. That is so good. Oh, please see the car. That looks solid, man. That looked really solid.
Dude, this thing's insane. I just did an 80. In fourth. Bro, it's so fast. It pulls like an absolute freight train. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. This thing's insane. It's so fast. My heart's pounding right now. The adrenaline is crazy. I just did 80-mile-an-hour pulls, fourth gear, like it was nothing. Bruh. So as you just saw, the 500 absolutely rips now. It is insanely fast. It looks so cool too with the single-sided swing arm. It's hard to see it in the flyby because you're going so quick, but it looks awesome. It is so much fun to ride. It's just so fast. I couldn't believe how well it did. Like the suspension is dialed. The rear brake works perfect now. So happy with that. It stops really well. So can't complain. Honestly, I'm so happy with the way this build has been coming out. It's been a dream of mine to have a mini bike like this, and it's finally reality, and it's just so insane. So we've been trying to dial this in, and the wheel was a little bit crooked again because it shifted all of our bolts again from the torque. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna realign it, and then we're gonna tighten it all back down, and one by one, we're gonna take these out and drill them out with a 3/8 bolt drill bit, and put 3/8 bolts through them. So that way it's a tighter tolerance. It'll be a perfect fit with that drill bit, so there will be zero slop. So once it's lined up, it'll never be able to come misaligned. And then once we take the swing arm off, we'll do the same for that side. For now, we'll just realign it and try to tighten it even more than we did last time. But I'd say this setup's gonna work, and it's gonna work good. So we can start looking for the cooling fan and then headlights and taillights for this thing. And after that, it'll be ready for paint.
So we're going to be wrapping this video up, but before we do that, we're going to kind of get into a price breakdown on the whole Kraken build.
Yeah, let's show you guys how much it costs to build the world's fastest mini bike.
We'll start things off with the thing that's holding everything on it, the frame. The Coleman B200R we picked up. We got off of a friend of ours, and we got that for $600.
We had to get a power plant then after that.
Yeah, we had to decide what we wanted to even be in this frame. Brandon did some research, and he found that Kawasaki 500s, they typically put out decent power, and once you swap them into something much smaller like this, they give you crazy top speed, power, whatever you're looking for.
And they're super cheap.
We picked up this particular 500. We picked up the whole bike for $200. We were able to run this at the first gen 500 for
a couple months.
Yeah. Fit like the rest of it, work out the rest of the frame.
Yep,
like
get all the mounting.
Get it all good. Unfortunately, that one jumped time, blew up. Had to work around that, which led us to buying
a second one.
Second gen 500R, which is just a little bit better.
In 03 this time.
Fixed all the kinks within the first gen, so that was a huge plus. We picked up that engine for $260, also a whole bike.
Yep.
And it's been doing us well ever since.
So before we bought the Gen 2 500, I tried to rebuild the Gen 1 engine, and I spent $120 on a rebuild kit for that, and then $75 for a CDI, and still didn't run great, so we ended up buying the Gen 2 bike. So that was kind of a waste of money, but that was added cost to our total. And after that, we ended up getting new carburetors for the Gen 2 engine because I wanted to run dual carb, not a single carb. So we got the carburetors, the throttle cables, carb boots, and the new throttle, all for this thing. And that all cost us $180. But it runs way better with the dual carb setup, and no need for an airbox because this engine uses vacuum carbs stock, and now we're running slide carbs, just like a dirt bike would. So there's no need for an airbox anymore because you don't need vacuum pressure to make the carburetors work. We had to custom fab / purchase the headers and a muffler and piping to build an exhaust for this thing. And that cost us $130. We also needed a full clutch kit because the clutches were old, kind of worn out. So we figured we're going to be launching this thing, better get some new clutch discs and plates in there. So we did clutch plates, discs, and springs. That cost us $50. When we put this engine in here, it's a water-cooled engine, so you need a cooling system. And the street bike uses one big radiator with a big fan. And yes, we could have potentially just swapped that from the bike straight onto here, but it wouldn't have looked that great or performed that well and would have had to been in an awkward spot. So we ended up switching it up, and we went with 2 KTM 300 radiators with a custom cat overflow tank and all new hoses, all new lines, and then we are going to be adding a cooling fan behind the radiator as well to keep the engine cool at all times. It does pretty good without a cooling fan, but for those hot desert days down in the dunes, when it's like 110 out and you're doing drag pull after drag pull, the engine will get to 220 pretty quickly, and once you hit 220, you gotta shut it off because you don't want to go over that or else it'll overheat. So the cooling fan will keep it right around 210 to 215 at all times, and it'll be perfect. But that whole setup cost us $440. Oh, big ticket item in the cooling system. Cooling systems are never cheap, so if you can reuse yours, do it.
After that, Brandon, he went through all the wiring, figuring out what worked, what didn't work, what needed to be replaced. That was a lot of troubleshooting in itself.
Yeah.
And that ended up costing $80 for that.
Yeah, not great. Should have been free because we had 3 harnesses, but
some stuff still worked. It took a lot to figure out what even did what and what still worked.
May or may not have caught a few of them on fire.
That's in the past now, and that was $80.
Yeah.
Then we have our tank still. The first one was pretty much free to make.
Yep.
Some
all scrap metal.
Yeah, sheet metal to weld it up out of. This one wanted a different top that would seal much better.
I wanted something with billet cap with a real O-ring. And so I bought this Chinese gas tank off of Amazon.
That was $25.
And then we built the bottom half for free from our scrap metal bin.
Before we had the single-sided setup, we had a paddle tire on here with an 8-inch rim.
Yep.
And dual piping on either side.
Yeah, the standard swing arm.
Yeah. And that was around $100 to make said and done. And while we're down here, we'll might as well look at the jack shaft setup. All the bearings, hubs, all this back here cost around $245. They'll get and then figure out how to put it in.
Yeah, axles, locking collars. It's a lot. Yeah.
Then between the sprockets and chain, that was another $240.
It's a lot.
Chain is surprisingly expensive.
And same with like high quality sprockets that aren't gonna just break and that are gonna be strong enough.
It all adds up.
Yeah, it does.
Change our gearing setups
multiple times. Yeah.
This has come a long way.
Yeah. So when you're making this much power and you're trying to hit speeds well over 100 miles an hour, you need tires that are gonna hold up to those speeds. So we have a special Sun F front tire that's speed rated for 130 miles per hour. And this thing costs us $80 for the front tire. And then to be able to stop from 100 plus miles an hour on off-road terrain, you need really good brakes. So we're running KTM Brembo 250 dirt bike rear brake setup on this thing. And then we're running quad dual hydro front brakes on the front. And both of these setups combined cost $225 to piece together. It provides really good stopping power, and let's just say it stops just as well as it goes. We're almost down the list now. We got a couple things left, and one of the main things we still have is the suspension. That is a major effect on this build. It helps it ride incredible. It just floats over bumps, rides like a Cadillac with 1,000,000 horsepower. And we are running custom locking collars on a custom triple tree to run these billet inverted forks on it. And then we have a Honda CRF 450 rear shock from a 2017 450 on the back. And those two things alone cost us $230. We got an absolute steal on the rear shock. That's why that price point is so cheap. The forks were brand new, and same with the locking collars. So after we went and gave this thing a full send down at Busco Beach in the spring with cars and cameras for Mini Mayhem, and all we did was spin 1 through 5, we decided we needed more traction. So we set out to get a single-sided swing arm setup for this thing with a billet rim and a massive tire on the back with a lot more bite. So this is what we came up with, and it cost us $160 for the billet rim, the hub, and the tire itself, and it is an absolute performer now. We can actually ride it on the road because it doesn't just chew through our tire, and it has a lot more bite, way better gearing, so it should be much faster for the spring, and it was worth every penny to upgrade. It was much needed. I should have done it sooner. I should have just listened to everyone from the beginning and put the bigger wheel on from the start, but I thought the paddle tire would be cool, and it was, but this is much better. So we only have miscellaneous left, right? Yeah. And that costs $250. That's for all the nuts, bolts, washers, zip ties, hose clamps.
And then another $200 for the metal material cost.
And then another $200 for the raw material, yep. For all the tubing and sheet metal that we used to build it. But if you add all that up,
all this here,
it's just around $4,000
stuff, yeah,
to build the world's fastest mini bike.
Which, if you look at it all, you really can't complain. Like $4,000 for this is a lot.
It's faster than every dirt bike ever to exist.
Any brand new machine, you're looking at like $10,000.
Yup. And it's got the same quality suspension. You know, I've jumped this thing, I've cornered it, we've drifted it, like I've wheelied it. We've done everything with this thing already. I've even taken it mudding. That didn't go very well, but we did it. And
yeah, the new tire needs some adjustment for drifting too.
Yeah,
but
it's awesome though. It's such a beast. So what you tell us? Comment below. Do you think it was worth it? $4,000 for this mini bike. Give a little more. It probably actually cost a little bit more than that, but we're being generous here. Around $4,000 to build the world's fastest mini bike. And it's still not done yet. We got lights, paint coming up next, and top speed test.
Mm-hmm.
We've been waiting for this.
You'll have to stay tuned for that.
Yes.
But $4,000, you can't really beat that for what it is.
Like, come on, guys. You know it's awesome. So we hope you enjoyed this video.
Yeah. Like, share, subscribe.
Yep. Stay tuned for the full send video coming soon.
Next one.
And we'll see you in the next one. God bless.